I'm in a little gravel parking area just off Skyline Drive near mile marker 60. This is the parking area that takes you down into Pocosin Hollow. There's a Skyline Drive up there 100 yards or so. And you come down here and there's a parking area here for 2 cars. There's probably parking there for up that way for 3 or 4 or 5 more cars. This is the fire road that leads down to the Picosin Cabin and the ruins of an old Pocosin mission. I've hiked this part of the trail before, so we're going to hike this down this way and till we get down to the old mission, and then we're going to take a left on Pocosin Hollow Trail, which is the new part of the hike for me. There's a cabin down here that you can rent from Potomac Appalachian Trail Club. I'll show you that when we get down there. My car's the red car on the left. The one on the right was here when I got here, which means somebody may have already rented out the cabin. So if somebody's at the cabin, I won't get too close to it out of respect for them. But we're going to head on down this way, and let's see the weather here. It's about 45 to 50 degrees right now, very light breeze. It should be a real nice day for a hike. The elevation here is 3,200 feet. I'm only about 1/10 of a mile down this fire road, and that marker right there is where the Appalachian Trail crosses. There's the AT heading northbound. We're going to be hiking down this way down the fire road, and there's the Appalachian Trail heading southbound. So for now we're going to continue on down this fire road. I'm a little bit past the cabin, the Picosin Cabin that you can rent out from PATC. I took a couple of still photos, but I didn't want to do any video with narration because there's people there. I stopped and they showed me inside the cabin, and it's a nice cabin. There's a wood-burning stove inside for heat, and out on the front porch there's an outside fireplace, and it was throwing out a lot of nice heat. Very nice cabin. So it's another one to consider renting, and it's only about 2/10 of a mile from the parking area to the cabin, so you can carry a lot of junk. I turned on the video here to show you. This is an example of a fire road that doesn't have much gravel on it, and so what happens in the summertime, the grass grows up pretty tall here, like maybe 3-4 feet high, and you're starting to you can see some of the green grass starting to grow now. When it gets to be 3 or 4 feet high, and it gets full of ticks, and so it's not very pleasant hiking these roads in the summertime. So I wanted to do this hike before the grass gets too tall. So I'll turn the video back on when we get down to the old mission. I'm 1.1 miles into my hike, and I'm down to 2,740 feet elevation. And we're going to continue off to the left here, but here's where the Pocosin, the old ruins of the Pocosin Mission are, right over there. So before we continue on with our hike, let's go over here and I'll get a few pictures of the old Pocosin Mission, and then across the trail from that is the old cemetery. So I'll go over here and take a few pictures. That's what's left of an old outbuilding here at the Pocosin Mission. Over here is what's left of the mission itself. It had stone walls. This is the back side of the building. I'll go around. The only thing that's visible from the front now is the steps, but I'll get a few pictures of that for you too. There's what's left of the front of the mission. Not much, just some steps. And then for reference, over there's that dilapidated outbuilding. And then down there's the trail that we're going to take. And I'm going to walk across this part of the trail over here because there's an old cemetery over here. So we'll go there and check that out too. Here's what's left of the cemetery. There's no marked headstones, just just flat rocks stuck in the ground. There's one there. That looks like one over there. Another one over there. That could be one there. There's one there. There's another one right there. And there could be others that are buried under years and years of leaves and dead trees and stuff. Oh, there's one. There's one right there. And for reference, over there is the front steps of the old mission. So, not much of a cemetery, but it is a cemetery. Okay, I'm back to the fire road. There's where I came from, down the side of the mountain. Here's one of the National Park signposts. Those metal bands up near the top have hiking information and directions stamped into the metal band. Up there's the Pocosin Mission. Over that way is the old cemetery. And now we're going to continue on down the fire road for a ways until we find the Pocosin Hollow Trail. I'm 1.5 miles into my hike. Here's the fire road I've been hiking down, and here's the trail leading off to the left. This will be the Pocosin Hollow Trail. The elevation here is 2687, and if you follow these along on the maps that I'll show at the end of the hike, the easting coordinate is 20,066 meters. That's a UTM easting coordinate. But we're going to head on down this road into Pocosin Hollow for the next few miles. Here's a 360 pan at the turnoff. There's the fire road heading downhill. To the right, to the left is Pocosin Hollow Trail. You can see we're down the side of the mountain a little bit. There's where we came from, heading back up the mountain to the Picosin Mission. Back to the fire road. Well, for now we're going to keep heading down into Pocosin Hollow. Here's what the first part of the Pocosin Hollow Trail looks like. It's designated for foot traffic only now, but this is way too wide and hollowed out to have been just a trail, foot trail. This may have been some old wagon trail back in the day. Two miles into the hike now. I'm down to 2,400 feet elevation, and just wanted to show you the what I like to call the world's most expensive carpet. That stuff feels like the most expensive carpet in the world. It's a moss that grows here in the Blue Ridge, and when you step on it, it's just as soft and spongy as can be. Here's what the trail looks like, continuing on down into the hollow. Down there now is the beginnings of a creek. I'll have to look up on the map and see what that is. Maybe you can hear it. For now, we're going to continue on down into the hollow. This is an interesting little piece of trail geography here. The trail is totally washed out there. Right there's the rocks where here's the trail I'm walking on. It ends in this big washout area going up the side of the mountain. And then over there on the other side of the washout is the trail continued. So we'll be taking a slight detour down into this little washout. You can see from the video that the mountain's pretty steep here though, so I'm not surprised about the washout. I'm 2.7 miles into my hike, and I'm down to 2,110 feet elevation. There's a switchback right here. There's where I came from. And here's a switchback right here, and then the trail continues on down next to this little feeder stream. This does not totally agree with the USGS topo map that I'm using. So you have to be a little bit careful with these maps. Most of the maps are fairly accurate, but sometimes they show trails that have been abandoned by the Park Service, or a trail's been rerouted, and I think this might be a case of where the trail's been rerouted some. So, but there's the blue blazing, so I'm not too worried. Going to keep on heading down until we get to the park boundary. I'm 2.9 miles into my hike. I'm down to 1,960 feet, and I'm getting ready to cross Picosin Creek. That's looking upstream. Here's the crossing. Here's looking downstream. Real nice. Well, after consulting the map, I decided I'm going to stop hiking here where I crossed over Pocosin Creek, because to get down to the park boundary, the trail is going to force me to go up this way and climb the mountain a bit and go in the reverse direction. And I don't think there's anything trail worthy of seeing that from here down to the park boundary anyhow. So I'm just going to stop right here. You can see I set up my day hammock, and I'm going to sit in there and eat some lunch and relax for a little while. And then to get back, I'm going to have to cross over this creek one more time. It's a little bit tricky getting across here. I might try and cross on that great big tree that fell down on the way back. We'll see. Depends on how rotten it is. If not, I'll just try and hop across the rocks again without falling in. But for now, I'm going to rest in the hammock and eat some lunch and just relax. Here's how I have my hammock attached to trees. I'm using this, for day hikes I just use this mule tape. This is really used for pulling wires through conduits and stuff. It's rated about 1,600 pounds. And then I have a small carabiner connected to it. I've got it hitched around this tree. And then this part of the, these are whoopee slings coming down to the hammock. And then that's an ENO double nest hammock. It's got a lot of fabric. There's a lot of room in here. And then it's hitched the same way over there to that other tree. And then I have my day pack is hanging from this smaller tree here just to keep it up off the ground so bugs don't get in it. Today's lunch is the usual stuff. Water to wash everything down. Here's the bumblebee tuna salad. It comes in a can with 6 crackers and a little spoon to scoop it out. I usually bring a Ziploc bag to put my trash in. Here's a Nature Valley fruit and nut bar, and they always popular Keebler cheese and peanut butter sandwich crackers. Now I actually ate a pack of these on the way here from my house. And as a backstop, we've got this great big huge rock with this wonderful moss growing all over it. And in the background, the sounds of Picosin Creek. Oh man, living the life of Riley here. Here I am in my hammock. You can see I took off my boots. Oh man, this is perfect. I'm right beside the creek. Right there. It's a nice sunny day. It's probably, I don't know, 65 degrees. Haven't seen a single soul this entire hike. This is a nice hike. This is I would recommend this hike. I come down here to the creek and then Picosin Creek and either cross it or don't cross it. I crossed over until I decided I wasn't going any further. Why hike when you can do this? As usual, I'm hiking alone, and you never know if Bigfoot lives in these hills or not. And if he does, maybe I'll have a prayer's chance. I brought my little friend along with me just in case. And for now, I'm going to turn the video off, and heck, I might even take a little nap here. This is sweet. Highly recommended. Take a little hammock with you, and you run into a situation like this, you can throw it up in 5 minutes and you got a place to take your shoes off and relax. I'll turn the video back on and show you how compact this thing packs down. This hammock packs down to a little ball, not much bigger than a softball. There's what the hammock looks like packed down. It's very lightweight and it's pretty small. This is the double nest. The single nest, which is a little smaller, not so much material on width, would pack down even smaller than this. But you could even sleep overnight in it, but there's no bug net. You'd have to buy a separate bug net. So I just use this during the day for day hikes, and I have other other more elaborate hammocks that I use for overnighters that have built-in bug nets and stuff. But that one's made by Eagle's Nest Outfitters. Uh, 3.2 miles into the hike now. I'm climbing the mountain. Here's the first switchback. The elevation here is about 2150. Down there's where I came from. That's a feeder stream that runs into Picosin Creek down at the bottom where I ate lunch. And for now we're going to keep climbing the mountain. I think I got about another 1,000 feet of elevation I got to climb to get back up out of this hollow. So here we go. I'm 3.7 miles into the hike, and I'm up to 2,300 feet elevation. Still following Picosin Creek upstream, but it's way down there. But if you're a hammock camper, you could leave this trail. This is pretty steep, but you could zigzag your way down to the creek down there somewhere and do an overnight camping thing with a hammock. There might be room down there for a one-man tent. I really don't know, but there's plenty of trees here to hang hammocks from and so forth. And in the summertime, once the leaves come out on the trees, you'll be able to hear that, but you won't be able to see down there at all. So, be a nice place to do a hammock camp overnight thing. But for now, I got to keep climbing this mountain. I'm 4 miles into the hike, and I'm up to 2,450 feet elevation. And here's a spot down there where once you get down this pretty steep hill right here, the ground flattens out fairly flat down there next to Picosin Creek. So that would be a decent spot for a little backcountry camping, especially with a hammock. I'll mark this one on the map for you. Now, I'm not saying this is the world's best spot to camp, because it's going to be a little bit of a climb in and out of there, but you got water, and once the summer comes, people really won't be able to see down in there. And a good marker is this great big tree that fell across the trail that the Park Service cut a chunk out of. So I'll mark this with on the map. I'm 4.1 miles into my hike, and I'm up to 2,500 feet elevation. And I'm going to mark this spot as a decent camping spot for backcountry camping. Down there's Picosin Creek. Maybe you can hear it. So this will be fairly easy to get down to the creek here. I had picked a different spot a little further down the trail, but I decided this is a better spot right here. So I'm going to move my camping marker up to here and show this on the map instead. Here's the camping area I'm talking about. I walk down here. Here's Pocosin Creek right here. This is where it first comes down off the really steep part of the mountain here, and it's sort of flat for a ways. Flat being a relative term in the mountains, of course. But there's Picosin Creek. There's lots of water. Little spot right there, you can get your water out. And then up here, that big rock there, I mean, if you could pitch a one-man tent right there up against, tuck it up against that rock, which would give you some protection from the cold wind coming down off the side of the mountain. And then beyond that, up the hill just a little ways, is the trail. So I'm gonna say thumbs up in this area. Here, take a look around. Pretty flat, lots of trees. No fires allowed in Shenandoah National Park, but you're allowed to bring a little small cooking stove, portable cooking stove. There's Pocosin Creek. and back around to the big rock. So thumbs up on this spot. I'm 4.8 miles into my hike, and I'm up to 2,740 feet elevation. I'm back to the old Pocosin Mission ruins. That's right over there. There's the concrete signpost. There's where I came from down there. And it's about another mile up this way up to my car. So I'm going to take a rest here for a minute, drink some water, and then head on up the last mile to my car. Here's the map of today's hike. The name of the quadrangle is Fletcher, 1999. Here's Skyline Drive coming down, and here's where you make the turn. It's just past mile marker 59 coming south. And you take a left-hand turn and you come down this fire road just a little ways, and here where it says gate, there's a gate across there. There's also a parking area. So you park your car here, and then from here you hike down the fire road to here where it says Pocosan Cabin. That's the cabin that I show in the videos that you can rent out from PATC. And then you continue on down the side of the mountain down to here where I've circled it here. It's not shown on the map, but here it says Upper Pocosin. This is where the mission ruins are, about here, and then on the other side of this little dotted trail over here is where the cemetery is. Okay, and from here then you continue on down the mountain to here, and here the fire road continues on this way down the side of the mountain, but we took a left onto Pocosin Hollow Trail and follow this trail on down the side of the mountain all the way down to here. Here's where it crosses Picosin Creek. And to get to actually to the park boundary, you have to cross the creek, climb up the mountain a little ways, and then follow the trail on down to here. Well, when I got to here, it was nice there, and I decided there wasn't any point in me hiking the rest of the way, so I just stopped here and put up my hammock and had lunch and so forth, and then came on back up the side of the mountain the same way I went down this way. Now when I get to about in this area right in here is where it's fairly flat, and I marked this on my GPS and as being a nice area for camping, especially hammock camping. Okay, and then on back up this way, back to where the mission ruins are, and then finally back up here past the cabin and back to my car. So that's the hike for today.